Hey everyone, just want to come to you with a quick out of character notice before we get the show started. In this show, I play a character that really likes Bill Maher, somebody with a lot of very harmful real world political beliefs. I will not be engaging in any kind of explicit bigotry on this show because I don't want to repeat that. That's not really funny. But what I do think is funny is role playing somebody who genuinely actually thinks Bill Maher is a true intellectual titan, and that's what this show is. And one last thing. Please don't send this podcast to Will Weldon, at least not till I'm done. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Where she presses herself against the wall and she starts going, "You owe me a major apology!"
Hey everyone, this is I Hate Will Weldon, a show about hating a guy who hates a guy. Will Weldon hates Bill Maher. Bill Maher is somebody I'm sure you all are familiar with. He's an incredibly popular American TV personality who talks politics. But Will Weldon hates him because I don't know, actually. And that's what this podcast is here to diagnose. Maybe it's because Will has problems in his own life that he can't solve. Maybe it's because Will has a bunch of hatred in his heart and he doesn't know where to put it. But that's what I'm here to figure out. Now, probably the biggest reason I'm making this show is because it really upsets me how much harassment Bill Maher gets online. I feel like nobody's out defending this guy, and I feel like that's my duty. I've been a longtime fan of Bill Maher. I see him on TV every Saturday. I feel like I know the guy. He's taught me a lot. He knows so much about politics, and he always tells it like it is. I mean, why do you think his show is called Real Time? Even Will Weldon himself has admitted on his own show that Real Time has an incredible format. And it does. The beginning monologue is full of great topical jokes. The panel discussions and interviews are incredibly insightful, and New Rules always has me on the floor. But Will Weldon doesn't think Bill Maher deserves this show. He thinks somebody else should be running that show. But if you know anything about the media ecosystem, you know it's a meritocracy, and you know that Bill Maher earned that spot. And nobody should be able to take it away from him. Absolutely nobody. Not even Will Weldon. Now, absolutely nobody is ironically a pretty good way to describe Will Weldon. He is first and foremost a comedian. He's not very good at it. And I definitely plan to have an episode later in this series about some of his stand-up. But all you really need to know is that it's not very popular. And I think that says enough about its quality. Like I said, it's a meritocracy. Get over it. I mean, what does Will Weldon know? He's just a whack job from Canada. He lived in Canada for the majority of his life until he moved to Los Angeles in his 20s. He knows nothing about what it means to be smart in the US. But Bill Maher is the embodiment of the merit and intelligence of the American people. And I think, honestly, Will is jealous. His career is just kind of nothing, you know? Even he admits that. It's incredible to watch Will Weldon sit on somebody else's show and admit to hundreds of thousands of people, my career is nothing. It's nothing. Everything I've ever done has been a failure. His own words. So we turn to hate. Hatred for Real Time, hatred for its guests, but most of all, hatred for Bill Maher himself. Will Weldon has a podcast called I Hate Bill Maher. And it inspired this podcast, to be honest, but for the opposite reasons that Will Weldon thinks. I Hate Bill Maher is the purest manifestation of Will Weldon's inner misery. It is an incredibly in-depth podcast about one person and his show. Every single week, this guy has someone on to slander Bill Maher. These are random comedians, people you've never heard of. And you've never heard of them because they're not as good as Bill Maher. They didn't make it like he did. They couldn't hack it. They couldn't do it like Bill Maher. And this is just their grievance. This is their grievance show. This is them finding a way to get together and say, I hate Bill Maher. I hate. What a strong word. But all of them hate Bill Maher. Every single week, somebody new hates Bill Maher. It's unbelievable. He's got stings, segments, and so many guests. He puts an incredible amount of work into this show. about hating a guy. I cannot understand the level of passionate hatred required to do what Will Weldon does on the level that he does. And so I'm doing it back at him, kind of, to know what it's like. I'm a little curious, to be honest, to know what it's like to be Will Weldon, to dissect someone's life, dissect everything they've ever done. And so that's what I'm going to do to Will Weldon. I mean, Will Weldon is so obsessed with Bill Maher, he puts a compilation of lip smacks into every single modern episode of his show. Lip smacks. Bill Maher smacking his lips. Something we all do regularly by accident. He makes a compilation of them. He's so dedicated to a degree that is kind of horrifying. He's been doing it for over 2 years now, and I don't know if he'll ever stop. And so I'm going to give Will Weldon the Will Weldon treatment. I'm going to tear apart everything he's ever done in his career and show how it's not really very meaningful. He can hate on Bill Maher all he wants. He's nothing. And he's said before, too, that he'll never stop. He's just that dedicated, I guess. Well, guess what, Will? I won't stop either. I'm going to analyze the hell out of you. I will go through all the shit you've done in your career and make fun of it, just so you know what it feels like. You know, I kind of empathize with Bill Maher. He knows so much more than I do, and I could never have the level of respect that he does. But I feel kind of sorry for him. Having a whole show with all of these people getting together, all of these supposed comedians, people who are supposed to be in Bill Maher's field, getting together and saying that he sucks. It's not fair. And I think somebody needs to defend Bill Maher. There's not enough people doing it. It's like radio silence. And I'm here to change that. I want to defend Bill Maher. But I don't want to sit here and say, no, Bill Maher is great, because there's only so many times I can say that. So instead, I'm going to turn it around and do the opposite to Will Weldon. This show isn't about loving Bill Maher. This show is about hating Will Weldon. So, this is the first episode of this show. It's very brief. I don't have a guest, and that's probably the main reason why. It's a little difficult to write a monologue that goes on and on and on, and how short it already is, it's probably going to end up being under 10 minutes, which is unfortunate. I was hoping it would be a little longer. But the future episodes will be longer, and they'll definitely be more entertaining. I think I'll know what I'm doing. I'll get in my groove a little more as things go along. Each episode should be out about 9 p.m. Mountain Time every single Wednesday. But, this episode will be a little bit late. Hopefully soon I'll hit my stride. But for now, it's a little rough around the edges. Kind of like Bill Maher. And I really appreciate that about him. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to remind you of something. You can trust the media in this country, okay? You can trust them. It doesn't matter what all these I hate Bill Maher fanatics will tell you. It doesn't matter what Will Weldon says, what any of the guests on his show say. It doesn't matter what anyone says. You can trust the media in this country. That's how capitalism works. It's a meritocracy. The media companies that are at the top in this country got there because they tell the truth. That's how it works. We don't lie here in America. We tell it like it is. And Will, for making me consume so much of your content to prepare for this show, you owe me a major apology. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.